The Confucian master Twege Li Huang, a towering figure of the Yeongnam school, a true humanist that has been recognized as a spiritual mainstay throughout the ages, laid the foundation for Neo-Confucianism of the Joseon dynasty and was the model of an engaged intellectual for all of his life. Dosanseowon, a leading Korean Sewon, where his teachings and thoughts live on today. Welcome to the capital of Korea's spiritual culture. Experiencing the Dosanseowon, where the spirit of Twege is felt. Andong, which was a balancing force against the cultural dominance of the capital in the Joseon period, and a center of local culture. At its core was the master Twege Li Huang. Returning home after resigning from his government position, he chose the life of an upright scholar. To carry out his research and educate the next generation of scholars, he planned to build a small sodang in 1557. Well known for his frugal and graceful nature, the master Twege built Dosanseowon in 4 years and taught his disciples there himself. Dosanseowon was formerly Dosanseodang, which is the oldest building of the Sewon today. Dosanseowon, the cornerstone of more than 50 sodangs and sewons in Andong, has been designated as Historic Site number 170. In 1570, following the death of Twege, his disciples decided to keep his spirit tablet in the Sangdoksa shrine. 2 years later, a shrine containing his spirit tablet, which was built according to the wishes of the local Confucian scholars, and Jeongnyeodong, Dongjae Dorm, and Sojae Dorm were built, completing the construction of Dosanseowon. Then, King Sunjo presented a plaque written by the renowned calligrapher Han Suk-bong, and Dosanseowon thus took its first step toward becoming one of the best private educational institutions in Joseon. So what is the shape or the construction plan of Dosanseowon? For Dosanseowon, a distinction can be made between the Dosanseodang and Dosanseowon, which includes Dosanseodang. Dosanseodang is where the master Twege taught his disciples in life, while Dosanseowon also includes the shrine built by his disciples after his death to memorialize his teachings and virtues. Dosanseodang, which contains the teachings of Twege. It is a simple, elegant three-kan building shaped like a straight line. The small room where Twege conducted his research and taught his disciples was called Wanakje, which means a room that provides such enjoyment that it would be possible to spend one's whole life there. Also, the floor on which Twege taught his disciples and rested is called Amsohon, which means since he is not very confident of his academic achievement for a long time, he wishes to make a small progress, even if he has to lean on the rocks to do so. In addition, Dosanseodang includes Nongung Jungsa and Yeongnak Soje, which were dormitories for the students, Hago Jiksa, which was residence of the Sewon keeper, and Jungwudang, which was Twege's favorite pond. Dosanseowon, built after his death, consists of the educational quarters where the students are taught, the sacrificial rite quarters where the spirit tablets were kept, and their subsidiary buildings. Also, since it was located on a slope, the Sewon had a typical shape of Jeonhak Humyo, with the lecture hall in the front and the sacrificial rite quarters in the back, a structure that would have a profound impact on subsequent generations. First, with respect to the educational quarters, behind the Jindomun Gate dividing the Sodang and the Sewon, Jeongnyeodang is located in the center, which consists of the hall where the students were taught, and the Sewon head's office, and Dongjae and Sojae are symmetrically arranged on the left and right respectively. Dongjae and Sojae were student dormitories, with seniors residing in Dongjae and juniors residing in Sojae. Also, Gwangyangshil, an archive of books divided into an east and a west wing, was the equivalent of a present-day library, while Jangpangak in the back of Dongjae was a publishing center where wood blocks had been stored. This place, where one can feel the spirit of the Confucian students who loved books and studied diligently, shows how Dosanseowon became the cornerstone of Korea's spiritual culture. Next, the sacrificial rite quarters, consisting of Sammun Gate, Sangdoksa Shrine, and Jongsa-cheong, is situated at the highest location of the Sewon, with Sammun Gate as its boundary. Sammun Gate at the back is a gateway to Sangdoksa Shrine. Once entering it, you can see the Sangdoksa Shrine, which stores the spirit tablet of Twege Li Huang and Wo Chan, one of his disciples. Beside Sangdoksa Shrine is Jeonsachong, where Jesu, the food used for hyangsa, at the shrine is prepared and kept. At Sanggo Jiksa on the west of Jongryodong, the keeper of the shrine resided, assisting the students and making preparations for the various ceremonies, including hyangsa. Dosanseowon also has Okjingak and a well-named Yeoljang. Okjingak, an historic artifacts exhibition hall built in 1970, showcases items used by Twege himself during his life. The well-named Yeoljang was in use from the time of Dosanseowon's construction. Thus far, we have looked at the arrangement of Dosanseowon. So, why has Dosanseowon been established as the holy land of Korea's spiritual culture? In Dosanseowon, a broader and freer education has been pursued to train sunbi, who are both learned and virtuous. Through such a superb education, the elites were raised who served the nation and society by carrying on Twege's spirit, forming a great scholarly tradition. Twege Li Huang is still revered by his disciples as a towering figure in Korean Neo-Confucianism, even more than 400 years after his death. And this is why each year, hyangsa is held at Dosanseowon in his memory. Hyangsa is a type of memorial service held at the Seowon to remember and honor respectable sages. Twice each year, in spring and in fall, hyangsa is held in Sangdoksa Shrine. This event is the oldest and the biggest privately sponsored traditional memorial service in Korea. From Ipje to the preparation of Jesu and Jinsol and Umbok, each stage is conducted with a great deal of gravity and respect. During the memorial service, all participants in the rites wear ceremonial dress, with the Hungwan wearing official attire, Samo and Mokwa, and holding hol, observing the courtesy of Samo Gwande. Also, Jipsa and Yusa never fail to wear Jebok or Dopo, and Yugon thereby paying their utmost respects. The influence of Twege Li Huang is not limited to the disciples that were moved by his teachings and virtues. King Jeongjo of the Joseon dynasty even held a special exam for civil service called Gwago at Dosanseowon in memory of Twege. That was the very Dosanbyolgwa. Dosanbyolgwa, a Gwago examination held at Dosanseowon, was the only Gwago held anywhere other than Hanyang, the capital of Joseon, and the event held today in memory of that is Dosanbyoshi, a national Hanshi writing competition. But since the site there was small, King Jeongjo held the Gwago examination at a site called Shisadan in the pine forest across the river. In 1976, Shisadan was moved to its current location on a 10-meter-high stone foundation that was built when Andong Dam was constructed to ensure that it would not become submerged. In order to honor such sunbi spirit and preserve the Korean identity, Dosanseowon is running the Sunbi Culture Training Center. Since opening in 2002, Dosanseowon Sunbi Culture Training Center has provided training to various groups, including teachers' organizations, public officials and businessmen, and students and their parents. Clad in sunbi clothing, participants live in the training center during the training and undergo various forms of education, including the study of prominent Confucian sages, visits to historic sites, and studies of the life of Twege. Also, students learn about Almyore, other traditional rituals held here, and Hwalin Chimbang, known as Twege's secret for health, and gain on-site experiences in Korea's traditional spiritual culture through dialogues with the master of the head family among Twege's descendants. In the surroundings of Dosanseowon, for which the master Twege himself laid the foundation, there are other encounters between the tradition and the modern. The road to Dosanseowon is none other than National Road number 35, which is rated as one of the most scenic roads in Korea. The first thing that we encounter along the road is the Korean Studies Advancement Center, which collects, preserves, and researches various materials on Korean studies, and is the cradle of Korean studies-related materials, with the biggest Confucian culture museum in Asia. A pleasant drive along this road will take you to the Gyeongbok Forestry Museum, which harmonizes nature and a modern building and provides educational experiences to its many visitors throughout the year. Also, driving along National Road number 35 toward Twege, you will see the restored birthplace of poet Lee Yuk-sa and the Lee Yuk-sa Literary Museum, located at Dosanseowon in Andong, the lovely village noted for its green grapes. Andong, originating from Chanyeongguk, built by Yeomsan-dosa in 57 BC, and named by Taejo Wanggun of Goryeo Dynasty as Andong-gu, called by the names of Andong Daedohobu, Andong Dohobu, Andong Gwanchalbu, and others thereafter. It has been the administrative center of the Gyeongbok area. The master Twege Lee Hwang, who was the foundation of the spiritual culture of Andong. Dosanseowon, where the genuine Sunbi teachings of the master Twege are alive and well, will continue to be remembered as the holy land of Korea's spiritual culture.